The economy is revving. Today, the government released some of the best economic data on jobs, housing, and inflation in years, in some cases, decades. Here's what we learned. The labor market is strengthening. Jobless claims, a proxy for layoffs, tumbled to a level not seen since Richard Nixon was in office. Home construction is also ramping up, rising at its fastest pace since 2007. Inflation, something the Federal Reserve has been searching for, is showing signs of firming. But across America, as we know, there is an economic divide, with many feeling uncertain about their economic future. And the upbeat picture we got today may not tell the whole story. Call it the data disconnect. Today's consumer price numbers, up. Housing starts, up. And jobless claims, a proxy for layoffs, down, now at 43-year lows. They're among the most positive economic reports in decades. Those numbers do explain why Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen says an interest rate hike may be imminent. What they don't explain is the unrest President-elect Trump successfully mined in last week's election. Take consumer prices, up in October by nearly 0.5% from a month earlier, a jump driven by higher gas and electricity costs. Housing prices are up too, but food and medical costs are relatively flat. Year to year, prices are up more than 1.5%, the biggest gain in 2 years, and not far from the Fed's 2% target, a number we haven't seen in 4 years. The Fed benchmarks 2% as a sign of growth, with a relatively low risk of sudden price spikes. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index isn't the only price measure used by the Fed. It also uses the Commerce Department's Personal Consumption Index, and that's been up as well. In September, it was up more than 1%, the biggest jump in almost 2 years. October's number is due later this month. Despite the higher prices, consumers are buying. Wages rose in October, the most since mid-2009. And retail spending is up in each of the past 2 months. Housing construction is up as well. Today, we learned housing starts jumped in October more than 25%, the most in 9 years, fueled by a boom in multifamily starts, up almost 75%. Housing permits, a measure of future construction, were up too, though not nearly as much. And finally, jobless claims dropped last week, down to their lowest levels since 1973, well below expectations. So why then, with jobs safe, wages up, and housing construction going strong, is the mood of the country so foul, the cry for change so loud? The numbers reflect a recovery, but it's an uneven recovery, not mirrored in places where jobs remain scarce and opportunity is lacking.